Batting third, playing right field, number 21, Roberto Clemente.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Clemente Collector. And today I wanted to talk about the PSA Premium. And what is the PSA Premium? PSA Premium is how much more you have to pay for a PSA graded card versus another grading company's card. And as you probably could tell from behind me and watching my show, I grade everything with SGC. Well, part of the reason why I started grading with SGC and buying SGC slabs is whenever I started looking for Clemente cards, I noticed that PSA graded ones in the same grade were going to from 10 to 20% more. And obviously a lot has to do with the registry, a lot has to do with, PSA has been the top dog for longer. But my thought just coming in was, I'm going to take advantage of this. If I could get an SGC 5 Clemente and save 20% over a PSA 5 Clemente card, this makes perfect sense for me. I could spread my hobby dollar a little bit further. I do have a tight budget as far as my collecting goes. So that's how I've collected. But it's made me wonder. It's made me wonder what actually is the premium that you pay to use PSA as far as when you buy cards. Somebody might say, well, why does that matter? If I buy a PSA card and it's 15% more, and then I sell the PSA card for that 15% more, why would it matter? You know what I mean? It'll all come out in the wash at the end. My thought on this is SGC is starting to close the gap as far as resale goes. So your thought that, well, I'm going to pay a premium, but I'm going to get the premium back, I don't know if that's true. But what I want to look at today is I got the 5 biggest rookie cards of the 1950s, and I want to see how much of a premium the average person will pay for a PSA versus SGC. We're going to actually start with the 1951 Mickey Mantle rookie card. All these sales are based off of VCP, and it's all based off of 2023. So I didn't want to go back too far. This is all recent data. It's showing you how much more you would pay for PSA versus SGC. And let's get to the presentation. Okay, so first off, the 1951 Mickey Mantle card. So what I looked at here is I looked at a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7, and then I did the total at the end. And somebody might say, well, why didn't you just pick all the grades? Well, I do have a full-time job, so I decided instead of going with authentic at the start, because authentics can be a lot of different things, I said let me start with 1, and then let me have then every other number, and a 5 is the collector's grade for 50s cards. So I thought to myself, this is a good snapshot to give somebody an idea. So once again, this is only sales in 2023. So going down the line here, for example, a 3 grade, if you bought an SGC card instead of a PSA card, you would have saved 12%. So the PSA premium was 12%. And then as you see, as far as a grade of a 7, you're paying a whopping 53% premium to get a Mickey Mantle card in PSA versus SGC. I think the first thing that jumps out for me is if somebody was savvy and was more of an investor type, they could buy an SGC 7 next time it comes up if it's in that ballpark, and they could get it crossed over to PSA. Granted, could it come back a PSA 6? Of course. But I just wanted to give that example there that might actually be a crossover opportunity for somebody to double their money. But as far as the total goes, the total is very skewed by the 7 because it's such high dollar. But as you see, as far as the Mickey Mantle rookie card, you're paying an extra 37%. So that's a lot of money you're paying extra just to have a PSA slab over an SGC slab. So let's go on to the next one, the Willie May's 1951 card. Now this card is very, very interesting because as you see, a grade of a 1, you're paying 17%. But a 3 and a 5, you're actually paying a higher premium for SGC. Now, I don't know if that's just the amount of data that's out there. Maybe it's not big enough. I don't know if maybe there was a great eye appeal, SGC 5, and it really skewed the data. But as you see, there is some trust out there, and SGC was known for vintage, even prior to the pandemic and everything like that. But as you see, the 3 and the 5, you actually paid more for SGC than PSA. So as you can see, similar to the Mantle, the grade of the 7 is a huge difference. It's a 34% difference. So you would you would save $17,000 if you bought an SGC 7 over a PSA 7. Now I know that's out of a lot of people's budgets, obviously, but it is interesting to think about. And then because of that high number for the 7, the total actually ends up being a 9% premium for Willie May's rookie cards. So let's move on to the next one. So this is a huge card, the 1954 Hank Aaron card. So let's go down the line here. If you're looking for a grade of 1, you could save 20% by buying SGC. Obviously, grade of 3 is break even. Grade of 5, you could save 9% if you go with SGC. Then the 7 grade is very interesting here. The opposite of the Mantle and Mays, you're looking at saving 16% going with PSA. So this card is definitely interesting and different than the other cards we've seen so far. And that actually makes the total SGC, you pay 6% more than PSA. So far we've had some mixed results, actually, which is very interesting. I don't know if that's a sign of SGC more closing the gap on PSA, but let's look at 2 more cards. All right, here's the 1954 Ernie Banks card. So I put this in here because I felt it's one of the most iconic cards of the 50s, one of the most iconic rookie cards, obviously. And as you could see by the yellow at the bottom, PSA premium is across the board on this card. So you're looking at 19% for a 1, 13% premium for a 3, 17% for a 5, and 35% premium for a 7. So we see that again on another card where the 7 grade, you pay a very high premium. And then as you see here, the average for all 4 grades, 29% premium on this card. So if somebody came to me today and said, I want to get an Ernie Banks rookie, I would give them the advice of maybe you should shop for an SGC one because you're going to be saving a lot of hobby budget there. All right. Last but not least, the 1955 Roberto Clemente rookie card. So going down the line here, you save 14% by buying a 1. My Clemente rookie card is an SGC 1.5. And as I did research, I noticed how big of a difference it was between PSA and SGC. So a 3 grade, 11%. A 5 grade, we actually see a flip. You see it in green there. SGC actually cost a little bit more by 11%. And then 7, we see the trend again. 20% premium if you buy a 7 PSA over SGC. And then the total for Clemente is literally 15%, which is really interesting to me because as I said in the opening, I always felt like there was a 10 to 20% premium PSA to SGC when I was buying Clemente cards. So that actually bores out here with the results so far this year. All right, so here's a summary page. And because like Mantle was so expensive, I actually did a weighted average. So I wanted to make everything pretty much equal. And that's why I did a weighted average here. And by doing a weighted average, the ones ended up being a 14% on all 5 cards combined. The 3 was a 5%. So it was close to break even, but PSA was still more expensive. The 5s were 10% towards SGC, which is really interesting, which is the collector's grade, quote unquote. And then the 7, once again, as I highlighted a couple times, the 7 ended up being 25% increase for PSA to SGC. And then once you average those out, we're looking at a 17%. So right where I thought it would end up, but it was kind of cool to work through this, especially with today's market and what collectors out there think of SGC today. It's kind of cool to see did kind of my thought process hold true, or was it close? Was the SGC prices closer to PSA? So that concludes this, guys. I'd love to hear in the comments what you think. I understand rookie cards are a little bit of a different market than, maybe some of the second, third year cards. But I thought to myself, rookie cards are the cards that have the biggest audience. So I would have the biggest sample size to look at. So I thought it was a good starting point. So let me know what you think, if you agree with what the results came out. And just tell me what you think about the video, guys. And I really thank you for watching this. If you could subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, I'd appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.